Yo, how's it going everyone? Entropy here today with another video. It's time for G Set 6 Transcension of Blade and Blossom. As usual, this video will follow our three-part structure, starting with the events and then some key units and lastly some competitive insights. So let's get started. First of all, this month was the month of March for JP. Of course, 2 months behind is global. Now, for this video, as always, I have to put the statement that this is mostly an educated guess. It's a reflection of mostly what happened in JP. Global hasn't happened yet, so I really can't say for sure, but most of the time we are pretty much accurate, and you can check out the previous videos for, well, verification purposes, I guess, in terms of our track record. In terms of the banner, from left to right to top to bottom, we have Royal Paladin, Neo Nectar, Gear Chronicle, Kagero, Shadow Paladin, and Link Joker. Now, fans of these clans will be really excited because this set of support is pretty good. And if you're interested in my specific top 5 list of units from this month, you can skip to part 2 and we can talk about it. But if we're gonna stick around, let's talk about the events. And starting off, we have 20 packs from the beginning of the month. We have character fights unlocked for for Grand Blue and K for Great Nature. Now, global players, K's story is actually already unlocked, so you can go ahead and access that. But story is not yet, so we are expecting this to be unlocked in the coming month. First of all, with the clan events, we have Spike Brothers from the 4th to the 12th, with the boost skins being Toga from Neo Nectars, Ibuki from Link Joker, Kumi from OTT, and Kamui from Nova Grappler. Spike Brothers is finally back in G, and if you're interested in the deck profile, just a little bit of a point to start, you can check out my deck profile. Next, we have the Imaginary Tower event with Keter Sanctuary from the 12th to the 20th. This is a team event as usual, so be sure to get yourself in a good team, get ready for this, and set up your boosts. Following this, right after that, we have Narukami event from the 20th to the 28th. The boost skins being Kanzaki from Shadow Paladin, Shion from Royal Paladin, Kyo from Spike Brothers, and Mamoru from Kagero. Now, this one is quite interesting. This one has some support for Eradicators, has some support for Vanquisher, of course, and a little bit of stuff here and there. So definitely go check this one out. In terms of the rank rewards, we have Victor for the first half of the month, and for the second half of the month, we have Susanoo. So starting from this set, we have a little trend where most of the rank rewards are not just units from the main sets, but also clan events. So, you know, expects that. The one after this is Vanquisher, and who knows what we'll have next. In terms of some little missions here and there, we have Versus Stargate from the 28th of February to the 8th, so expect this in the beginning of the month, I guess. And you're basically just doing some random missions for some coins to exchange for icons and sleeves, and nothing really too valuable. Same thing. After this, we have United Sanctuary and Dark Zone. And we also have the White Day, which is kind of the same thing. You just log in and that's basically it. You just get items to exchange for. Super casual. I honestly think that it was such a waste of potential just to make this like a really basic login, do stuff event. Especially these. But, you know, free stuff is good stuff, I guess. Now, we're going to go into part 2 of the event video. We're going to switch things up and focus on just top 5 cards from the set, just to make this quicker because most people drop off here. So let's do this. First of all, Ideal Maiden Thuria. Now this unit is pretty ridiculous. It is meta defining, right? So first of all, if your Rearguard Circle GB1, if your Vanguard is a grade 3 or greater Ranunculus, this unit is placed with the same name as all your units. So same name. Next, second skill, Rearguard Circle GB1. At the start of your main phase, if your Vanguard is a grade 3 or higher Ranunculus, return 1 card with the same name as your unit from Drop Zone to return this unit to your hand. Is this too valuable? Not really, but third skill, Resist, right? And this is really important because first of all, this card can copy the name of other units. Second of all, it has Resist. So there's an amazing strategy where you just play this out, have a full board of Resist units, chunky numbers with your strides, and your opponent can't beat through it. It's just really tough. You recycle, you do the same thing over again, and your opponent gives up and just cries themselves to sleep. That's basically it. Ranunculus Inglorious Bloom Asha. So Vanguard Circle GB2 once per turn. If your card is Ranunculus, CB1, turn card face down from the G zone, face up, call a card with the same name as one of your units, and until end of turn, all the units with the same card name as that card gets plus 5k for each copy of Dream Spinning Ranunculus Asha in your G zone. So they get really, really big. And in addition, Vanguard Circle GB2, there's a rearguard with the same name as this unit. All units with the same name as this unit, including itself, gets +1 crit. So there are situations where you can set up 3 units in the front row with 2 crits. And that is definitely scary. Definitely scary. Next up, I think another meta-defining unit is definitely the Transcending the Heavens Alt Mile. This card is great. It gives you multi-attack without needing on hit, so it's like a GB2 Alt Mile restricted version of the Blade. Vanguard Circle GB2 when placed, if your card's an Alt Mile, carry +1, turn a card face down in your G zone face up. Gain the following 2 abilities. First of all, when it attacks a Vanguard, call a grade 2 from your deck and give it +5. Secondly, for each copy of Aerial Divine Knight Alt Mile in your G zone, all of your front row gets +2k. So, you know, not only does both of the Ashas and Alt Miles combo off the ones from G set 4 for additional abilities, just stand alone, they're already good enough, which is really nice. Another unit I want to highlight is the Novel Vague L'Express. Now, of course, players of 0, you should remember this iconic. This is the first grade 4 unit to come to Vanguard 0, and it is back with vengeance. Vanguard Circle GB2 when placed, carry +1, cheaper Persona Blast to get the following 2 abilities. First of all, when it attacks Vanguard, your opponent must discard a grade 3 or greater at random from their hand when activating Sentinel during that battle. If they do not, it does not activate. So it's basically your traditional guard restrict. And secondly, Vanguard Circle, if you or your opponent are at 5 damage, negate all of your opponent's triggers. Now, this is really great because I loved playing OG Novel Vague because it shuts down 6 damage heals. And this definitely is the same kind of feel, right? Like if you have game and all your opponent can do is just 6 damage heal and then flip the script, then you just shut down that and just end your opponent. Like there's no RNG involved, you just win the game. And that feels really, really good. And lastly, for 5th most valuable units, I put the Legend. Is it really that good? I don't think so, but I do see its utility as a tech, and well, someone did top with the Legend, so I think it's important to mention. Vanguard Circle GB2, once per turn, CB1, discard a grade 3, plus Flame Dragon, and get +15k, +1 grade, +1 drive, and the following ability until end of turn, and draw 1. The skill is as follows: Vanguard Circle once per turn at the end of battle, it attacked, discard 3, stand this unit, and draw 3. In addition, when placed, you can Soul Blast 1, Carry +1 to shift out 5 and add a Flame Dragon to your hand. So this is really nice. Some key Flame Dragons include cards like PGs, Berserk Dragons, so it's a really nice and easy way to fetch out pieces. And its GB2 skill is also very, very welcome. You know, having a restanding Vanguard is always nice. So, since we did mention the Legend topping, let's talk about some tournament results from this era. Starting off with the final stage 2021 on the 20th of March, you can see that Neo Nectars, Grand Blue, Angel Feathers, these are still really popular. Lurking behind, you have some Bermuda Triangle, we have some Royal Paladin, and Kagero as well, Pale Moon. So mainly from the set, you can see Neo Nectars being popular, Royal Paladin and Kagero right behind them. But let's see if popularity is the same as results. As you can see, first place, Watari brought Kagero, Angel Feather, and Neo Nectars. And you know, Neo Nectars definitely popular, it's very strong. Kagero, definitely an outlier. It doesn't look like it should be there, but it did top. So one thing I would like to mention about the list for Kagero is the Root Flare. Now Kagero has a lot of G-Zone options at this point of the game, you know, since they did get supported like 2 or 3 times already. But with Root Flare, you can actually catch players off guard since it retires by column, right? You can target whether the front unit or the back unit. So even though your opponent might have a front row resist, you can still retire that front row resist unit if your opponent has a non-resist unit in the same column at the back row. So if you catch people off guard, you can definitely, you know, ruin some games, ruin some Neo players, and definitely could be devastating. So that's really nice. And for second place, we have Silk Regalia player. You can see that they are also bringing the Neo Nectars from the new set. so it is quite strong. And of course, Grand Blue and Bermuda, still fan favorites and very good decks as well. And let's talk about Watery again. So the reason being is because on the 20th, they had the Final Stage 2021 event, and then they had the Grand Final event on the 25th, so 4 days after that. If you win the Final Stage, you get an invite to the Grand Finals, and Watery got the invite and then won the entire thing. So good job. And so it's basically it's the exact same lists. And so nothing much to say here. I guess nobody really bans Kagero, so people not really familiar with it and can definitely catch people off guard. And for second place, we have Nazuna player. Just 3 really defensive control decks. Nothing much to say here, but again, from this set, it's mainly Neo Nectars being the #1 slot, and Royal Paladin I think is the #2 slot. But some other decks such as Link Joker, such as Gear Chronicle, I think these clans do have some ideas here and there. I don't think that they're really fully developed yet, but you know, that's what future support is for, right? So for now, I think from this set, the main clans that you're mainly focused on is Neo Nectars and Royal Paladins, and those 2 are going to be the meta defining ones. The rest, quite nice to have, but not just right there yet in terms of competitive viability. So that's basically it. Again, it's not one-to-one to what we're going to see. I'm not omniscient. I can't really see the future. I can't really give you, well, say all this with 100% as a fact. But again, close enough. So let me know down below which clan you're most hyped for this set. Let me know if you like the faster pacing of this type of video, just to get things going. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already, and thank you so much to Kamui, Mello, ZBD, and Casey for supporting the channel by being members. And of course, like the video and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching as well. So that's basically it. Just some rambling as you might click onto some other videos. I think this set is really solid, and it sets a precedence for some ideas, right? Like really big intercepts that actually mean something, because you can't just retire it, because they do have resist. And we see this kind of idea with Gold Paladins as well, with the next set after this. We see some more defensive play, I guess more control-y kind of play with Dark Irregulars as well. Whether that's effective or not, we can talk about in the next set overview with some tournaments as well. But overall, I think there's a little shift, right? Like last set overview, we were talking about how aggressive the clans were, Aqua Force, Pale Moon, Grand Blue. But this set, we're gonna pivot, and even though there is aggression in Royal Paladin, it is much more defined by the chunkiness of Neo Nectar. So it is how the game is, right? Like just because you have good cards doesn't mean you're the best deck. It is really about what else is in the game as well at that moment. So yeah, I think the meta really revolves around Neo Nectars and Grand Blue at this moment, and Neo Nectars just has a better matchup against Grand Blue in my opinion. So that's why we see these kind of results. Will we see the same thing on global? We will see. A lot of it is also popularity, right? Like if some obscure deck like Kagero doesn't see that much love, then they won't even top here in the first place, right? So it's hard to say. It's a relationship between popularity and competitive viability, but most of the times it goes hand in hand, and we kind of see that with Grand Blue and Neo Nectars anyways. So that's basically it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and see you all in the next one. Bye.